Welcome to the Racing Insiders on MAVTV, a weekly 30-minute look at sports car racing from the inside. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles. I'm joined by Peter Keene in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and Jim Daniels in Memphis, Tennessee. Jim, what's happening down there in Tennessee?
Hey there, Bill. How you doing? I'm looking forward to an exciting show with Jeremy Shaw at ALMS and my good buddy John Doonan from Mazda. I can't wait to see what they got to answer these questions. True inside information, don't you think, Peter?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful here in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Nice and sunny as usual, Sunside State. And I agree with you. You know, I'm looking forward to a good conversation with Mr. Shaw. I'd like to see what the ALMS side of this is.
You're right. It'll be good to hear what Jim Daniels has to say about the Mazda racing. He used to be a Mazda racer. He's that much on the inside. In the show this week, we've got Jeremy Shaw, who is an insider with the ALMS. He's going to tell us whether or not the people in the ALMS paddock are going to fight to keep the prototypes in the merger when it happens with Grand Am later on. He's also going to tell us what's taking so long. A lot of the guys in the ALMS pits are worried that things are taking too long. They can't make their plans for next year. Then we've got John Doonan, the director of Mazda Motorsports. He's going to tell us about the resurgence in the GX program. The Rolex GX program started on a bad foot. It's coming around now, won a race. But he's also going to tell us if this GX program is going to lead to GT racing, a step up in speed coming up in the near future. That's what's happening on the Racing Insiders this week. We've got on the line right now Jeremy Shaw, one of my favorite guys from the ALMS paddock. He's going to talk to us about the ALMS side of things. Last week we heard about John DeGeese telling us that the people in Grand Am are a little concerned about the merger talks. Jeremy, what are you hearing? Are the people in the ALMS paddock, are they wondering about what's going on with the merger? The 24 hours is only a couple of months away.
They certainly are, Bill. And, you know, the odd thing is that they've announced certain aspects of what the regulations are going to be for next season. But, you know, the big question everybody wants to know about it is, you know, is this how they're going to equalize somehow the P2 and the DP cars. And, you know, why it's taken them this long to come up with some sort of a resolution on that is kind of beyond most people, I think, in the ALMS as well as in Grand Am.
I think that's a major problem, and there's one that Peter, who works with the Spirit of Daytona team, Peter Keene in Florida, are you finding anything along those lines?
Well, I mean, obviously as Spirit of Daytona, we'd like to keep our DP the way it is, but I mean, my biggest question to Jeremy is why they hang up so much on P2 cars? I mean, looking at the car counts, it looks like the success of AMLS has been the PC and the GT cars. Why aren't they focusing on that? Why the big push for a P2 car to be what we're trying to balance with?
Well, I think one of the things here is that, you know, they've aligned themselves with the ACO at Le Mans, and, you know, there was a lot of speculation over the winter as to, you know, whether that's going to continue or not.
Right.
And, you know, they've made it pretty clear that, yes, that will continue. So, you know, they need, I think, collaboration between the rules in Europe and the rules over here. And, of course, DP cars don't exist in Europe, but P2 cars do. And if you look at the Le Mans entry for the 24 hours this year, you know, half of the field is P2 cars. I mean, it's super strong in Europe. Over here, yeah, it's not as strong, that's for sure. But, you know, there's 6 or 7 P cars over here at the moment, and you know, they all want to, and you know, and they are properly funded teams. I think, you know, in the Grand Am, you know, it's certainly, there's no secret that several of the teams that are running DP cars have been, you know, assisted with either buying the cars or running the cars or whatever it is. So, you know, prototype racing as a whole in the US isn't particularly strong, but I think the teams that are running in the American Le Mans Series are certainly, you know, they're there for the right reasons. They're there because they want to go racing.
Guys, let me jump in here for a minute. We've got to go to break right now. We'll have more with Jeremy Shaw, ALMS broadcaster, an insider in all sports car racing. When we come back, more with Jeremy Shaw right after this. This is the Racing Insiders on MAVTV.
Let us know what you think about what the Racing Insiders have to say. Tell us on Facebook and Twitter. Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back. I hope you like that Speed Beats segment. That's done by Andrew Hamilton, our editor. He's going to be doing those regularly for us. Some candy for you here on the Racing Insiders. Let's get back to our interview with Jeremy Shaw. Jim, I think you have a question for Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, this is Jim Daniels down in Memphis. I got just a quick question for you. I've been on the phone with Ed Zabinski at Level 5. He's a driving coach buddy of mine there. And then I've been talking to Brent O'Neill, the owner of PerformanceTechMotorsports.com. They won a championship in the LP last year, LC cars last year. And both of them are worried about really one thing, and it kind of goes to your budget, is that the time is passing by so fast here. When do we draw a line in the sand of the cutoff of expecting teams to be able to get prepared for 2014?
The line needed to be at the beginning of this year, in my opinion. Why it's taken them this long, I really can't understand. I mean, we heard when they made the announcement of the new names for next year, and it's going to be run under the auspices of IMSA. That was at Sebring this year. Why they didn't come up with these rules then, I have no idea. And they said then, it's going to be 3 months at least before we come up with the proper rules package next year. Well, they know for at least 6 months now what they're planning to do for 2014.
What about the news of DTM? Doesn't this just confuse things? A lot of news coming out of the series. I'm really confused. What is your take on it?
Exactly. Honestly, that is really weird because right now we've got a unified sports car series moving forward for next year. Why you'd want to talk about running an additional sports car series as well is beyond me. But I think that's kind of conceptual. That's not going to come on the line until 2015 at the very earliest. And I think it's too. To me, I'm kind of discounting that completely. I'm just more worried about what they're going to do with the Unified Sports Car Series for next year. And I think, the prototype cars need to have some level of sophistication. You look at the fans want to see sophisticated sports cars. So that's why I think that they are trying to equalize somehow these two completely different concepts moving forward.
Hey, Jeremy, this is JD again. Thanks for being on the show. I wish we had more time to talk about your scholarship program. Bill?
That's a great idea, Jim. I do want to thank you for bringing up that Team USA scholarship program. Some of the best young drivers in the United States, open wheel and sports cars, guys like A.J. Allmendinger, Joey Hand, Buddy Rice, they've all come out of that program, and it's an excellent program that continues now. Jeremy Shaw, Team USA Scholarship Program. Jim, let's get to you. What do you think about what Jeremy had to say?
Well, absent from this DeGeese thing we did and Mr. Shaw is the mention of the big boys. And in my mind, the big boys is Audi. And if you look at Wolfgang Durheimer, his comments have kind of been off the radar. He's not been saying we're building a P2 car or that we're thinking about this. He's saying we're working with the officials in the U.S. to put our engine and our body work on a chassis, which means for the first time, they're conceding building their own chassis. He hasn't said we're conceding building our own chassis, but through proxy, when he says I'm bringing my engine and my body work to a Daytona prototype program for next year, it certainly sends a message to me. Also, he's commented that he can have all this done if he has a rules package in place by Thanksgiving. Here I was thinking we were past some deadline, and he's talking about Thanksgiving. Peter?
Well, I got to tell you, I don't know how he's going to wait till Thanksgiving when we're going to be testing in December. That's going to be awful quick. I don't know if he claps his hands and they can build an Audi. I mean, what's worrying me is, we sure don't know what's going on the Grand Am side, and after listening to Jeremy, I don't think they know what's going on the ALMS side. So hopefully somebody figures this out and knows where we're going, because time is ticking. Bill?
I don't know. I think the time issue is the biggest crunch. Audi can create an R8 that looks like a prototype. It almost does already, so that's not a problem. I think time is the biggest issue we have going on here. Guys, let's get to John Doonan, who's coming up next, the director of Mazda Motorsports. We've got him as a special guest. He is the real insider in sports car racing. We'll be right back on MAVTV.
This segment of the Racing Insiders was brought to you by GoRacingTV.com, for racers by racers. Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Attention, this is a consumer health alert for anyone who has taken Byetta, Januvia, or Victoza. A UCLA research study shows taking Byetta or Januvia nearly triples your risk of developing pancreatic cancer. Reportedly, there is also an association between Victoza and thyroid cancer and pancreatitis. If you've taken Byetta, Januvia, or Victoza and have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, thyroid cancer, or pancreatitis, call this number immediately.
1-800-622-3201. You may be entitled to compensation. 1-800-622-3201. Call right now.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles. We've got Peter Keene in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and Jim Daniels in Memphis, Tennessee. Right now, we've got John Doonan on the line, Mazda Motorsports, the director of Mazda Motorsports. John is going to tell us about the Sky Active program that Mazda has, some problems that they've had, and apparently they're overcoming right now. Congratulations on a great win at Road Atlanta a couple of weeks ago.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys, and last Saturday was a great day, and as a few of the guys on the team say, this coming week it won't suck to be John Doonan.
Quickly, just a quick aside, how'd you celebrate?
To be honest with you, went to Victory Lane, celebrated with the entire team and the drivers, went back to the truck and helped them tear down. It's the Mazda way. We do it as a team. We win as a team. We unfortunately have had some losses as a team, but you do it as a team. And Kyle Kimball, who works for me, we went and had a dinner down the street from the track and went on to the airport because we flew out early the next morning.
Jim, you're very close with the Mazda program. What do you have to say for John?
Well, I tell you what, I love the little company from Hiroshima, as John will always say. I'm a Ladder alumni. John and I go way back. I know you guys struggled a little bit with this program. You used Daytona as a test. Share with us, how the team is handling some of these incidents. On the weekend, the 70 car was dominating. I think you got a pinhole in the oil filter very close to the end, salt to injury. What do you say to these guys to keep them pumped up?
Well, it's been a long development process, as you know, but in a very short period of time. I say long from a stress level. I say short from literally the first engines arrived at Speed Source in February of last year. So we were at Daytona less than 1 year after getting these production engines delivered from Japan. So it's been a long road, and yes, we've had challenges, and we can talk about those. We're not afraid to talk about them. But Saturday was, for a guy like Sylvain, who's a team owner, he's a driver, so as a team owner and him is jumping for joy. You're a driver, Peter's a driver. We're all passionate about being racers, and you want to win. So as he's, really dominating the event in the end in the GX class. He gets a piece of debris that puts a puncture in the oil filter. He has to come to pit road, so the driver in him is devastated. The team owner sees the second car go by, and he knows that barring any other issues, they're going to have a win in the bag.
John, this is the Rolex GX program we're talking about. Your first win came at Road Atlanta. Is there any opportunity or any thought that maybe Mazda might go to GT racing after the merger in the United Sports Car Racing Organization?
It'll be interesting to see what happens with GX. To be honest with you, when we first pitched this platform and this power plant to the folks at Grand Am, we pitched it for GT. And for one reason or another, the GX class was created. We're pleased. So I don't know what's going to happen with GX. We could get molded into what is Rolex GT today for 2014, and we continue to be in contact with the folks at United Sports Car Racing to determine what the future looks like.
I sit out there and spot for Spirit of Daytona, and I watched. You guys got a great program and great drivers, and sometimes I got to be honest, I sit there and hold my breath that with the closing speed sometimes catching these GX cars. Are you happy with the performance? I've heard in the paddock that you guys could turn them up and maybe go quicker. I know you're in the rule set that Grand Am gave you for this year, but...
Yes, I was concerned, especially going into Daytona, where the top speed there is even greater. Grand Am set a target, about 400 horsepower. We're right at that. Obviously, we've improved not only on the horsepower and being able to turn the car up to that level since Daytona, and now the torque, and the guys are actually tuning on the chassis. It is a challenging situation, but I just have to go back to the fact that we're doing something the Mazda way. We're proud of the package that we're bringing to the track right now. We want to continue to develop. We do have some testing between now and Detroit, and so I hope that we can even show up at Detroit on what's going to be even tighter circuit, and still be able to perform and not get in anybody's way.
John Doonan, Mazda Motorsports, want to thank you for a few minutes of your time. Congratulate you again on the win at Road Atlanta in the Rolex GX program. John, congratulations.
Well, thank you, and pleasure to be on the show. We appreciate what you guys do across the whole sport, especially for our club racers, 9,000 strong in the country, not just Spec Miata, but at all levels. That's really the core of our business, and we couldn't get to the level we have in GX without the support of our partners like Castrol and Visit Florida and ModSpace and all the companies that have gotten behind us. So keep up the good work on your end. We'll do the best we can to keep winning some races, and happy to have this opportunity to be with you guys.
All right, guys, that's John Doonan, Director of Mazda Motorsports. He's giving us an outline of what the plans are. Peter, what do you think?
Well, I was glad to hear that John said they originally wanted to have a GT program, not a GX program. I mean, that fits into my scheme of things. I mean, I think sports car racing in GT classes is most successful when you performance balance to a Porsche. Whatever Porsche is selling right out to the showroom, that's what we should performance balance the GX cars to and the Grand Am GT cars, and let's have a class and go racing. Jim?
Yeah, I agree with that as well, Peter. What I found interesting about this program is those original GT cars, when they were RX-8s, were, $500,000 machines. And instead of tossing those cars out and making a lot of teams eat those expenses, they put those chassis on jigs, stretched those cars out. So not only are they sky active and fuel economy friendly with this new push with that motor, but even down at the racing level, they're recycling these cars and living what they preach in the TV advertisements of trying to be friendly to this earth. Bill?
Yeah, I was told once that the Sky Active thing, I thought it was diesel, but it's not. It's about the Mazda technology, and that'll fit in the GT program. I'd like to see those cars. The cars are beautiful. I'd like to see them in the GT program, more speed, and quite frankly, I think the GX cars are too slow to be on the track with the faster prototypes, and I think it's going to get worse after the merger. I would like to see them get to GT sooner than later. That's our discussion with Mazda's Director of Motorsports, John Doonan. Next, Are You Kidding Me? You get a chance to find out what's bumping around in our heads on the Racing Insiders on MAVTV. That's coming up right after this. Stay with us.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Help!
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Call today for your Medical Alert personal alarm system. Plus, you get this second button free when you order today. And for a limited time, get this emergency lockbox free.
Call 1-800-461-6622 now. That's 800-461-6622 now.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Are you kidding me?
This is one of our favorite segments, Are You Kidding Me? You get a chance to hear what's bumping around in our heads, what we think, what's going on in our minds. Peter, take it away.
My Are You Kidding Me is I hope United Sports Car doesn't make the same mistakes of AMLS and even SCCA club racing with too many classes. We really need to break this down to 3 classes. You know, it's a real pain when the trophy ceremony goes longer than 2 hour and 45-minute race. So my Are You Kidding Me is keep it simple, 3 classes, you know, DP, GT, and whatever the AMLS GT cars are. Keep it simple. Don't get crazy. Jim?
Are you kidding me? Mine is the SCCA Majors. This has been a great event. I've done 4 of them myself. But back in the day when Ken Brown was working club racing, technical inspections that is, and not World Challenge, he would show up at a spec race or Ford race, a regular national, and tear down the cars. The Spec Miata community is begging to have cars tore down. They want to know what the top guys are running, if anything, or they're getting beat fair and square. My Are You Kidding Me is, yes, we want to be on the radio, but we also want our cars technically inspected to validate those wins. Bill?
My Are You Kidding Me continues to be Sebastian Loeb, 9-time consecutive champion in the World Rally Championship. He's going into GT racing with his own team now, pulling out of the World Rally Championship. But this past weekend in Rally Argentina, he won again for the 8th time. It's an incredible run. The man is one of the best drivers in the world, and just because he's from France doesn't mean he's not a great driver and shouldn't be celebrated here in the United States also. It's a wonderful record. One day you'll be happy to know that you were there when it happened. That's Are You Kidding Me? You get a chance to know what's bumping around in our heads. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles, Peter Keene in Cocoa Beach, Florida, Jim Daniels in Memphis, Tennessee. We'll be right back. This is the Racing Insiders on MAVTV. That's our show for this week. The Racing Insiders on MAVTV. I'm Bill Wood in Los Angeles. Peter Keene in Cocoa Beach, Florida. What's up with you?
Nothing, just great weekend of racing here at Daytona. You know, club racing in Daytona Regional, 360-plus cars. It's alive and well right here in sunny Florida.
And Jim?
Yeah, hey, I'm off to Monterey, Mazda Raceway, do some coaching, watch some racing, get some inside information, Bill.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see each other up there. I'm going to try to get up there. That's a beautiful time. Monterey, California. The racing is almost secondary to a good time and beautiful restaurants, good food, good eats, good racing. What more could you ask for? That's the Racing Insiders. I'm Bill Wood, Jim Daniels in Memphis, Peter Keene in Cocoa Beach, Florida. MAVTV, look forward to having you here next week. Take care.